gamers, today we're going to be talking about Age of Mythology. And obviously a lot of people have been asking me about it. You know, what I thought of it, will I play it, the balance, the UI, the hotkeys, and everything else, right? So this was me right there playing it for the first time. That video is up on YouTube, but I'm just letting it play in the background just so we can have, you know, something to go behind it. So let's get started with balance. Obviously I have played Age of Mythology a total of 4 hours, the Retold edition. I did play Age of Mythology back in the day, and about 4 or 5 years ago I replayed the campaign. That's kind of about it. And back in the day when I played, you know, I was like, you know, I don't know, like 12, 14, 15, so I wasn't very good at the game. I didn't play multiplayer or anything like that. I did play multiplayer in like net cafes, but nothing online, nothing serious, right? I was never good at the game. Take my opinion on balance with a grain of salt, because obviously I have not played even close to enough calling something overpowered or imbalanced or whatever else. That being said, as someone who has not played AoM competitively, I feel like so many things are just straight up OP. And maybe that's a good thing, because when nothing is OP and then one thing is OP, that's a problem. But in a way, when a lot of things are too strong or overpowered, it kind of balances itself out in a way. So I'll give you examples of some stuff that I've seen. It's like some relic can spawn next to your base, and then it's like your melee units do 10% more damage or receive 10% damage less, something like that. And to me, that's just like such a crazy thing. And people are like, oh yeah, relics are like that, and some are better, some are worse. But if you compare it to AoE 4, like imagine you pick up a relic in Feudal Age, actually in Dark Age, and your units are just taking 10% less damage, right? There's one that spawns like 2 flying scouts every X amount of time, which people are like, yeah, it's not that great. And I'm like, well, in AoE 4, if you were getting 2 scouts every minute, or every 2 minutes, that's insane, right? So there's a lot of, you know, from relics to like god powers to just bonuses for certain civilizations are, in my opinion, like crazy, right? But at the same time, like I said, all of the gods do have something that's just like out there, and it's very, very good. So maybe it balances itself out at a competitive level. I'm not really sure. But that's something that I just noticed. There's some parts that I disliked. For example, Loki has like a thing where your units have a chance when they auto attack to spawn is it mythic or myth units? And it's pure RNG. And to me, that's a bit crazy. Like I can just see it playing, you know, a competitive match, playing like finals or something, and then your opponent is Loki, and then he just diarrheas like 6 myth units and you die. And then you play Loki and nothing spawns and you die. So it feels a bit weird, like that it's that RNG. If it was like a thing that you filled up, like you need 50 auto attacks with them to spawn a unit, then it's at least you know what to expect. But I saw a video where one guy aged up to age 3, and then he started attacking and he spawned like 3 of those giants, and I'm just like, well, obviously he mowed down the opponent, right? So it feels like very gambly. So regarding balance, like I said, I don't know. I was literally, when I was playing these games in 4 hours, I was like, at one point I even stopped reading what the things do because there's so much, and I was like, I'm not gonna learn it in 4 hours anyway. So I just kind of played, made some units, and attacked some people. I think the addition of reusable god powers is really good. When I think of AoM, like it's, you know, you think of stuff like gods, titans, and god powers that you have. So I think the fact that they added so they're reusable by using favor is really cool. So I like that addition to it. Next thing, hotkeys. So hotkeys are very weird / they do not work properly. I don't know. I have tried re-hotkeying some of the stuff, but then it says there's like a problem with it. This is like the relic making AoE 4 where we had a bunch of problems on release. Maybe it gets fixed, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. But there was some issues with it, and it doesn't have as many hotkey options that AoE 4 has right now. But again, to be fair, AoE 4, when we started out, we did not have as many options for it either. Next thing is you cannot hotkey 1 or 2 units or whatever. You cannot hotkey 1 unit into multiple control groups, which to me is a big problem. And I really, really hope they add that. So not because I add, units into multiple control groups, but a lot of people have their whole army on, like, let's say 2, and then on 1 they have archers. So they can move their army with 2, but whenever they want to focus fire, they use 1 for the archers that are grouped up with 2. And you cannot do that in Age of Mythology. I don't really know why. I feel like that's such a small thing. And yeah, you can do that, which was a bit frustrating to play with. Next thing, FPS. There was a lot of FPS issues. I think the game would started like, I had FPS capped at 144, but it was like 45, 40, 50 most of the time. And I wish I can say they're gonna fix that until release, but as someone who has played AoE 4 and that was not fixed for a very, very, very long time, yeah, I'm worried about that, because 40 FPS gaming is not very good gaming. Let me put it that way. Next thing, unit stacking. So this is something I disliked about the game quite a bit. It's the way that units stack on top of each other and kind of move through each other in a way. They don't move through each other, like there is body blocking, but when you move your whole army, instead of the army moving like this, they kind of move into each other, and there's a lot of stacking of units, which I disliked whenever you move them. It's like they're all, when you send units to one position, they don't go to that position in their formation. They're all trying to reach the middle, if that makes sense, which is something I did not like. There's also a problem of a bug, which again, I hope it gets fixed, where if you're going around water areas or tree lines, sometimes what I'm assuming is happening is your units are trying to hold formation, so the unit cannot go into the wood line or into the water, so all your units get stuck. Again, I hope they fix it, but that's another thing that happened quite a few times to me. The UI. Let's talk about the UI. So, I'm just gonna say it, I don't like what they've done with the UI. It looks cool, but it is very just not practical whatsoever. Like, the map is all over the place, right? The age ups are in the top right of your screen. The resources are at the top. The building menu is in the bottom left, and then your minimap is in the bottom right. So it feels like instead of putting everything to like bottom left, bottom right side of the screen, there's information everywhere you need to keep track of. And yes, I am aware you can change the resources to be on the bottom right side, but from what people told me, the resources used to be on the bottom left side, and I don't know why that is changed. I'm used to having resources on the bottom left, and I just hope that they give us an option for that. Like, I would love to have resources like right here, you know, just like in AoE 4. They can even move this thing a bit here, and then resources can be on this side. So that's something I would love, because this also covers a bit of the screen. Maybe hero power or god powers can be put more up just to get more screen vision. And it was something very difficult to get used to. I tried both resources on the top and resources on the bottom right, and it was very rough. Like I was kind of like where do I look? Where are my resources? You know, like I'm looking at above, and then I'm looking down there to build something, and then I'm looking at the map, and then I'm looking at the screen. So I was just kind of all over the place. So that's something that I hope they fix. I remember when I wanted to talk about hotkeys earlier. The attack move command. This is a big one. So, if you are playing AoE 4, you know that recently they have added the new way of auto attack, or A move, where if you A move, even if you A move on a unit, it will still attack whatever. It will not focus that unit. And then legacy way of doing that in AoE 4 is if you press A and you click on the ground, it A moves. It attacks everything in the front. But if you press A move and you click on a unit, like maybe you want to focus fire something, that does exactly that. Now in AoM, we do not have that option, and the A move is just stuck on always A moving. You cannot focus fire anything with A move. So my muscle memory of playing with the past like 15 years in RTS games, where if you A move on top of a unit, it will attack that unit. and if you A move anywhere else, it will attack everything one by one, and that's changed. And that's something that I was struggling a lot to get used to, and I did not get used to it. So I hope they add an option for that. Visuals. As someone who does not play AoM every day, and as someone who has played it before and just started playing it again recently, I found it very hard to differentiate things. Like, it was not very clear. Stuff kind of blends into it a little bit. I'm not sure if it's the lighting, but I was kind of struggling finding where's what. Maybe that has something to do with me just not playing the game enough, right? Maybe if I played more, it would be a lot easier to see. But yeah, I would probably say the colors kind of, you know, blend with one another when there's units, and especially when there's unit interactions, when the whole stacking thing starts that I was talking about earlier. So that's something that I hope that, I mean, somehow gets changed a little bit, improved, or again, maybe it has to do just with my inexperience of playing the game. Now, you can't pick colors. I don't know if that's just how it is, or that's yet to be added, but I hope that you can pick colors, because right now it's just only red and blue. Next thing, did I have fun? So I've been playing a lot of different RTS games recently. You know, I've played Stormgate, I've played Zero Space, Battle Aces, tried out different games. There's more games that I tried, which I can't remember the names now. And now I played AoM after playing AoE4 for almost 3 years. So what did I have fun? I did, yeah. I thought it was really fun. I thought it was a lot closer to what I currently like, which is a game more reliant on strategy and game more reliant on, you know, choices that you make in the game rather than just making units and micring better or clicking faster, right? Age of Mythology is a lot closer of a game to me than, you know, Battle Aces or Stormgate or Zero Space games are, because those are more like StarCraft. And I did enjoy it. I did have fun. I think I started with Loki, and then I played Greek gods because I just wanted to play something else. So I ended up playing Zeus, Hades, whatever you pronounce it, and then Poseidon. And I had, you know, I genuinely had fun. I enjoyed like learning. There's a lot of different things to learn. There's a lot of different upgrades. There's obviously a lot of different gods, but then you know, Greek or Nordic or Egyptian gods, they have all their own mechanics, and they have their own buildings and units and upgrades. So there's a lot of information to absorb as a new player, just because you got to remember all the different things. And then when you age up, you have the options between 2 age ups, which you know, in AoE4 you have a landmark, right? This landmark or that landmark. In AoM, excuse me, you get you know, different god power, you get different units, you get different upgrades. So that's something to kind of get used to it. But overall, I had fun. The tempo of the game was a bit weird and new to me, but that's, I'm assuming, because I'm used to AoE4. And what I mean by that is the action starts a lot sooner. Like, it starts very early and very aggressive. And I don't know if that's because I played, like, you know, Pepega and Pepega games, but it was like instant action. The moment you age up to fuel, it's like heroes are coming out and you're fighting. It's weird seeing the TC just not really do much, I feel like. Like, you can dive under TC like 8 minutes and be fine, which was weird to see. And, you know, because you're using AoE4, like, you can't do that, right? So doing it here is a bit different. Obviously, it's a different game. So yeah, I did have fun, and I wanted to play Egyptians the most, but when I was able to play it, they were not in the beta testing, closed beta, whatever it is. So that's a bit of a shame, but still had fun, enjoyed it, and I enjoyed learning about it a little bit more. Next is the future of Age of Mythology and what I think about that. So people obviously, you know, from AoE4 are like, oh my god, is Age of Mythology gonna kill AoE4? Is there gonna be tournaments in Age of Mythology? Like, what's the deal? Are people gonna switch to it? Are people gonna play it? Are people gonna stream it? Yada, 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 yada. This is my genuine opinion. I've talked about this. I've talked about this before quite a few times with different remakes. Remakes in general get a boom of players, and then people realize, oh, it's the same game that exists. The graphics just improved, and then they go back to whatever they were playing. Unless the remake, or Retold in this case, has more changes. So like adding more gods, or adding different balance changes, adding maps is something that can and will help the game long term. So we've seen this with AoE 2. Obviously they did the high definition or remake, whatever it's called, and they added, you know, new civilizations, they added new balance changes, and it kind of revived the game from where it was and gave it a lot more viewers. Now, Age of Mythology, they're also, like I said, they did a lot of balance changes, but because I wasn't involved in AoM, I don't know to what extent the balance changes are. But I will say, if the game has any chance to succeed and like double, triple, quadruple their player base that they had before Retold, they need to fix all these things that I mentioned earlier. You know, whether it's bugs or hotkeys or UI stuff, FPS and all that. If the game launches in that state where there's a lot of bugs or you know, there's a lot of hotkey problems or UI problems, it will have the same fate as the AoE 4 release. It will start off really well, and then people are quickly going to get annoyed by it and then move on to something else. Do I think the player base is going to increase for Age of Mythology based on what they have currently? I think so, for sure, right? Because a lot of people will be coming back, and even if 10% people that try it stay over, that's still going to be increased player base. So I think it will do well. Now, the longevity of it depends on a lot of things. Like I said, it depends on the success of the launch. It depends on if there's people that are known that are streaming it, you help promote the game a little bit and all that. But most importantly, it's gonna be very important to see if Microsoft actually supports the game. This is one of the quickest ways to kill the game, which is having a company no longer support it. And we've seen this with Blizzard over and over. Namely, we've seen it with StarCraft and Heroes of the Storm, which is the bigger one, I guess. But basically, the moment Blizzard stopped supporting Heroes of the Storm, it feels like the game just died overnight. Like, the player base completely shrunk, the queues became massive, and everything else. So, I don't know what Microsoft's plan is with the game, but if they're supporting it, if they're doing updates, if they're organizing tournaments, stuff like that, I think AoM can go on and do really well in the long run. Is it gonna overtake AoE 2 or AoE 4 or whatever? I mean, I don't know. Like, it's always hard to say, right? That's kind of what I think about it. And obviously, we're gonna have the Red Bull tournament at least, which I'm assuming is gonna be a show match, just like AoE 4. So after that, we'll see what the reception of the viewers, of the players is gonna be, because that's gonna be a big event, a lot of eyes on it. So people are gonna get to see the game, and if people don't like it because of the game, then people just don't like the game, right? So it's gonna be a very important showing, I think. Now, am I going to play it? And I hereby announce that I'm quitting AoE 4. I'm joking. So what is my plan with AoM? When it comes out, I'm definitely going to stream it because I did enjoy it. Stormgate came out, I don't know when you're watching this video, but Stormgate came out yesterday, or like the early version, and I did not stream it. Not because I like hate it or something. It's just like I hope that Stormgate does well. Any RTS game doing well is great for the genre, right? It's just not my type of game. It's too StarCrafty, and like I said, Age of Mythology is a lot closer to me, a lot more fun. So when Age of Mythology releases, or if there's more stress test or beta test, whatever, I will play it, I will stream it. I was I've been also playing with the idea whether I qualify or not qualify for the Red Bull for AoE 4. I will most likely, if I enjoy the game, try to qualify for Red Bull in Age of Mythology, which should be quite fun. It should be like a little challenge for myself to see if I can play the game for a month and try to qualify for like the biggest tournament. Realistically, I'm probably not going to be able to make it, but that's why it's a challenge, right? If it was easy, it wouldn't be a challenge. I would just do it, right? I know a lot of people are going to think that I'm probably not going to be able to do that, or, you know, the players are so good, they've been playing for years. I think if you end up watching, like, even this video that's about 48 minutes long, like, if you watch from the first game to the last game, like, I've drastically improved in, you know, what I'm doing and everything, and obviously it's going to take a lot more time and effort to beat top players, but on my first day, on like second or third hour, I beat a player that was like ranked 20 on Woobly apparently in AoM. So if I can beat him in 3 hours playtime, then I think if I practice for a month, who knows? Who knows, right? If I was coming from StarCraft into AoM, I would say I would probably not have any chance on qualifying for Red Bull in AoM, just because, you know, the unit types, the armor and everything, the way it works, the heroes, the yada yada, I would probably not be able to do it in time. But because it's a lot more similar to Age of Empires 4, with the unit counters and everything, I think I'll be able to adapt quite quickly. It also matters what kind of system they're going to use in Red Bull, if they're going to use like bans or not, right? If I have to learn like 15 gods, then that's going to be a little bit worrying. But if I can focus on like 4, 5, 6, maybe I can do something there. But we'll see. Like I said, it's a challenge. It's not a requirement. I think even if I qualify, like I said, for AoE4, I might try to qualify in Age of Mythology, because it'd be kind of cool to qualify for 2 different games. And, you know, I like doing challenges from time to time, just seeing if I can do something, if I can manage something, and the fact that it's only like a month of practice to qualify for it makes it even more exciting, right? Because you don't have a lot of time, so you gotta do your best. And that is it. That is it. I'm not sure if I missed anything, but I think I covered everything I had. I know I mentioned a lot of like negatives, like, you know, bugs or UI or stuff like that, but I think it's important to give feedback about those things, and it's important to talk about them now than wait until game is done and no one's like working on it or something. The part that I enjoyed the most is just learning, and like, it's like AoE 4 but like more aggressive, and the fact that you have heroes like adds another, and myth units, whatever. You have another layer of counters and, you know, little micro and all that, which I found to be pretty cool. Obviously having hero power, god powers is really cool. Like seeing this for the first time, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? I'm like, do I attack it? Do I run? I don't know how strong it is. I don't know what I'm doing. So all that is pretty exciting, and yeah, overall just exciting to play. You can see my unit. I don't know if you saw, but my units were trying to run into tree line for a second there. Oh yeah, the audio. Yeah, that's one last thing. And this is something that AoE 4 had on release. So when you spam a unit, so when you press villager over and over, in AoE 4, it used to be like AoM is right now, where the unit will just like let's say hello is they're saying. It's gonna be like hello, 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 every time you click it. And then at a point in AoE 4, people complained, and they added kind of like a delay. So if you spam 1 for your villager, let's say, for 10 seconds, it will say hello. And then after 10 seconds, it's going to say hello again. So that's something that I found a bit distracting, and I think a lot of people found annoying, like people that watch my stream. The fact that there is no delay on any sounds from units, and they're just constantly repeating what they're trying to say. So if you're playing fast and you're scrolling between control groups, they're just constantly yapping. That's something I hope they do, because I'm assuming that's something you get used to it, but maybe for the newer players or viewers, it might be a little bit annoying. But that is it, boys. If you're watching this on YouTube, I want to thank you so much for watching. I'm excited to play AoM when it does come out, or if there's a beta. So if you want to watch that, make sure to follow me on twitch.tv/Beastyqt. And we'll play it the next time it comes out. Twitch gamers, let's keep going.